As we continue our latest updates from cyberspacewar.com, we get this from the Washington Post. Defense official discloses cyber attack, or DoD and CFR versus USB. Now it's official. The most significant breach of U.S. military computers was caused by a flash drive inserted into a U.S. military laptop on a post in the Middle East in 2008. In an article published Wednesday discussing the Pentagon's cyber strategy, Deputy Defense Secretary William J. Lynn III says malicious code placed on the drive by a foreign intelligence agency uploaded itself onto a network run by the U.S. Military Central Command. Quote, that code spread undetected on both classified and unclassified systems, establishing what amounted to a digital beachhead from which data could be transferred to servers under foreign control, end quote, Lynn writes in his article for Foreign Affairs. ForeignAffairs.com, of course, being one of the mouthpieces of the Council on Foreign Relations. Tragedy and hope, indeed. The interesting update to this story from Danger Room, insiders doubt hack was foreign spy attack. And this is why we started cyberspacewar.com. All these attacks, again, on inner space and outer space. Our next story we did cover on the latest episode of New World Next Week from ArsTechnica.com. Google Why Spy lawsuits head to court. Whether Google is liable for damages for secretly intercepting data on open Wi-Fi routers across the U.S. is to be aired out in a Silicon Valley federal court. 8 proposed class actions from across the country that seek unspecified monetary damages from Google were consolidated this week and transferred to U.S. District Judge James Ware in San Jose, California. Another 5 cases are likely to join those 8. The lawsuits allege Google violated federal and state privacy laws in collecting fragments of data from unencrypted wireless networks as its fleet of camera-equipped cars moseyed through neighborhoods snapping pictures for its Street View program. The deep-pocketed Google maintains that it did nothing wrong and is likely to put up a fierce and costly defense. Google, in response to government inquiries and lawsuits, claims it's lawful to use packet-sniffing tools readily available on the internet to spy on and download payload data from others using the same open Wi-Fi access point. Don't be evil. We have more on this from Threat Level. But what fleshes this story out, and what we've discussed time and time again, is the fallacy of Google's "don't be evil" motto.
The internet as we know it is in the process of being dismantled. It's known as Internet 2. More than a decade ago, a consortium of top tech companies, along with universities and government, began meeting once a year. And they openly said that they would expand the internet, get everyone addicted to using it, and as soon as society was completely reliant on it, they would unveil the fact that it was really a DARPA surveillance control grid to track and trace all human activity. They were really smart. They give you Google Earth satellite system so that everyone gets accustomed on spying on each other. And now the government is using it to harass farmers, to go after people building a shed in their backyard when it violates zoning laws, or to stop people from collecting rainwater.
Your name is Tom. You live just off of 5th Street. Nice car, Tom. Nice house. What's not so nice is you owe Pennsylvania $4,212 in back taxes.
They come out and said Google was founded with NSA and CIA money, but it's a lot worse than that. Google has been caught in the United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, driving around, not just taking photos and video for Google Street View. That's just the cover. But with electronic masks, illegally violating wiretapping laws, grabbing everyone's wireless data and decoding it. This is a private mercenary army. Just like there's more Blackwater and DynCorp contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan than there are U.S. troops, Google is the quasi-private, quasi-governmental arm of this. Yahoo is to a certain extent and others, but Google from its inception with In-Q-Tel, CIA funding, is nothing but a government system to take over the internet and to steer and control the architecture of the growth and future growth of the web.
And there you have it. That's, of course, Alex Jones from Infowars.com on a video about Google and its takeover plans. I would say they're pretty transparent, but again, most folks don't know about the intelligence connections that are replete with not only Google, but of course Facebook and all the others. Our next story on cyberspacewar.com comes from dvice.com. Childless UK couple build robot child companion. Meet AMEC, A-I-M-E-C, the creation of Tony and Judy Ellis, a robot-building couple from southeast England. AMEC follows them around their 18th century country home, cracking jokes, laughing, searching online for interesting things to tell its parents, just like a real kid. AMEC is also adept at imitating vintage robot voices and is said to do a mean C-3PO. It even snores when you put it to sleep and wakes up with a little stretch. The couple runs a robotics company called Conceptioneering out of their house and made their fortune with a game called Cube World. Tony expects AMEC could be on the market within a year or two, selling for an impossibly low-sounding $300. More on that from the Daily Mail and GizmoWatch.com. AI indeed. All our sci-fi fantasies are coming true, aren't they? Our last post on cyberspacewar.com is an ugly list of headlines. We call it DEF CON, Dirty Tricks and Moon Rocks. U.S. military's top-secret X-37B shuttle, which you may recall we reported to you back in April on Cyberspace War. Well, apparently it disappeared for 2 weeks and then changed its orbit. And we have more on this from Cryptagon.com, and there's even a fascinating real-time track of this X-37B spy plane, which if we hop over to Anti-Fascist Calling, Tom Burkhart, on his Space War update, secretive mini shuttles, dirty tricks, spy sats, and much, much more going into the X-37B, the National Reconnaissance Office, all that and so much more. Weaponizing space. It essentially, as folks have speculated about this X-37B, is it's setting up satellite pinpoints. That's my dummy way of putting it. The only thing we're going to mention about this, here it is from Of Goats and Men. Sweden pulled WikiLeaks warrant. I'm sure you heard about Julian Assange being first accused of rape, and then less than 24 hours, it was rescinded. Is this dirty tricks from the West against WikiLeaks? As we've covered the Afghan war diaries, things started to smell a lot funnier, of course, as so many of these documents now just seem to point for more war and wider war in Pakistan and Yemen on the global war of terror. But another story that we reported to you back in March of this year on cyberspacewar.com, where an Austin hacker disabled more than 100 cars remotely. We do have an update on this story from ABC News. Scientists hack into cars' computers and control brakes and engines. We'll get a little bit of that with a little bit of flashback from the Austin hacker as well.
A man fired by a Texas auto dealership used the internet to get revenge. Omar Ramos Lopez is accused of using a former co-worker's password to disable ignitions and set off car horns on more than 100 cars sold by the auto center. Police say he's charged with breach of computer security, which is a felony, and if he's convicted, Ramos Lopez faces up to 10 years in prison.
It sounds like a Hollywood movie. Cyber criminals in a van use a laptop to hack wirelessly into computer-controlled systems. But then guys from Rutgers did it. So which came first, the hacker or the eggheads? Click to Houston.com. I subscribe to their News of the Weird. Missing moon rock unveiled in Colorado. And our final note on cyberspacewar.com, as well as this episode 183b from MediaMonarchy.com, we're going to tie in several things. We get this from Grant Lawrence, not blogspot.com, where physicist Michio Kaku says that UFOs are real on MSNBC's Dylan Ratigan show. You may recall Michio Kaku because we just mentioned him last week when he was talking about solar storms, CMEs, could set us back 100 years. And again, those are the kind of things that we're tracking on cyberspacewar.com. EMPs, CMEs, space war, solar storms, all those things seem to be on the horizon, both literally and figuratively, and on the predictive programming scheme. And that's what we want to tie in. The last bit of alternative media I did mention when we were going over CorbettReport.com and PeaceRevolution.org is the latest episode from my man Clyde Lewis of GroundZeroMedia.org. It's called The Alien Kill Switch. Now, his latest episode, of course, broadcast live on KUFO 101.1 FM here in Portland, Oregon, rebroadcast live around the world from ZeroPointRadio.com, and that is where you can go and get the download of that episode, and you can subscribe. And again, we please ask you to donate to ZeroPointRadio.com and GroundZeroMedia.org. Again, if you find this information useful, please donate. We're all independent. God knows when the blogger tax is going to come hit more of us. But one, the amazing Heinrich and the gang at redicecreations.com, they've posted links to some of my stories from time to time, and I always find out by looking at my site stats and when I see a massive spike, like I saw just a couple of days ago. So thanks to Henrik and those guys at redicecreations.com for posting a link to my post about Clyde Lewis's episode, The Alien Kill Switch. This, of course, is the perfect preface for tonight's show, Plan 10, from Clyde Lewis and GroundZeroMedia.org. A live presentation tonight, the last Friday of every month. Clyde Lewis at the Kenton Masonic Lodge in Portland, Oregon, does a live show. If you're not in Portland, Oregon, you can listen on ZeroPointRadio.com. You can purchase tickets for your audio seat. And all of these things connect. I guess I've been on a little bit of a sci-fi kick lately, watching Body Snatchers and Alien Trespasses and X-Files and beyond. But it's there, and it's in the zeitgeist. They are prepping us for more disclosure, it seems. So, I'm going to be at Plan 10 tonight at the Kenton Masonic Lodge with my man Clyde Lewis of GroundZeroMedia.org. So the way we're going to go out is Michio Kaku talking aliens on MSNBC. So, my friends, this is going to be the end of episode 183, the B-side. My name's James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show MediaMonarchy.com, as well as FoodWorldOrder.com and CyberSpaceWar.com, reminding you, don't hate the media, become the media. Take care.
UFO believers, listen up. You may well be vindicated. We are back with an out-of-this-world town square and a new book out later this week. Government officials, pilots, and scientists going on the record about their own close encounters. Michio Kaku, professor of physics at CUNY University and host of Sci-Fi Science on the Science Channel, got to read the book early, and he joins us with a review. Quite simply, Professor, do unidentified flying objects without question exist?
95% of all UFO sightings can be immediately identified as the planet Venus. Weather balloons, weather anomalies, swamp gas, you name it, we got it nailed. It's the 5% that give you the willies.